Beard lovelies, you totally thought I was going to do the same thing I did yesterday. Not doing it. Yesterday when I did the video where I had the phone going all over my face, if you haven't seen it, that's fine. You're missing solid gold entertainment. I know you all loved it. The ones who saw it, even the ones who said that they disliked it. You loved it. You just don't know yourself, I guess. Yesterday, I took a bit of a risk with that unconventional video where I don't. First of all, I don't even talk in it, which is unusual. Secondly, it's right up on my face. Gross. Anyway, today, we're talking about risk taking. Sometimes you got to do that. I like to do that once in a while. I come up with an idea that's a little weird. Those are fun. You're covering new ground with those weird videos sometimes, or sometimes you're just being weird. Being weird to be weird, I don't necessarily like, but doing something a little interesting, mildly hilarious, or really hilariously disturbing, to me, is interesting. But you got to take risks once in a while. I think a lot of the most successful people in the world, at some point in their life, took a risk, but they did it smartly and at the right time. And they didn't continue doing risks, taking big risks all the time. They're not reckless. You don't want to be reckless. But once in a while, to get anywhere, sometimes I think you have to take a risk. Let's take an example here. Christopher Nolan, one of his first movies, Memento. It's a movie told backwards about a guy who forgets everything every 15 minutes. That's weird. If he came to the producers of that and said, hey, listen, I don't tell a story backwards. Guy forgets everything. It's going to be confusing as butts. I said butts instead of saying, swear words. I referred to the place where we poo instead of saying a swear word. And they're like, oh, okay, here's all our money. Somebody did that. Somebody paid for that and took a big risk. Unless the script was just brilliantly amazing. It probably did look pretty good, but still, it's an unconventional story that I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily guarantee you're going to make a lot of your money back because it's so weird, and no one knows how well the audience is going to accept that weirdness, or if the movie's going to be made well, even with a good script. They did it, nailed it, and it was really successful because it was weird. And it was weird, and not just because it was weird, but it was weird, and they pulled it off. It wasn't confusing. It was really entertaining and awesome. They took a risk, and now look at him. He's making the Batman movies. He made Inception, which another weird one. It was a big risk, I think. The part with the 4 levels of dreams. Spoiler. And the action going on there. That's crazy. Weird. You're asking the audience to accept a lot there. They did it, and it worked. Another example. You want to ask out a girl. Fellas, heterosexual fellas. I know it. Some of you want to ask out. There are girls in your life you want to ask out. Homosexual ladies. There are girls you want to ask out. Here's the risk. Well, for homosexual ladies, you got to make sure that the lady in question is homosexual as well. But for fellas, going after a straight lady, which seems like there are more of them, so it's more likely that they're straight. You got to take a risk to do that. You have to go put yourself out there. Put your feelings out there on the line and say, hey, listen, I'm into you. Let's date. And then they could reject you, and rejection feels bad. Also, if you're in school, word could get around that you got rejected and people could make fun of you. There's those risks. So you want to die alone then? Or do you want to take that risk? I would live with the failure of that. Personally. I would rather live with the failure of that than not do anything. So taking risks is important. Not all the time. Like the video I did yesterday, I'm not going to do that all the time. But I am going to test my limits once in a while. Put myself out there. Put my inside of my nose out there. And now I'm taking a big risk. I'm going to slam the phone in my face. I could hit my eye. Could have to get eye surgery. And they could replace my eye with a glass eye because it broke my eye with the phone. And it would be embarrassing because I'd have to explain to the doctor, well, I have this video series where I slam a phone in my face and my beard. I say beard slam to the beard lovelies. You know what I'm talking about, right? Then I'd have to go to a mental ward for explaining that. It's all a big risk. But I'm doing this right now for you. For your entertainment. Taking a risk. Because it's worth it. You're worth it. Beard slam. Ah, my eye! Ah!